Hi, today I'm going to talk about an easy way to do borders. Traditionally, you have to measure each end and the middle. And this is what happens to me, is I measure, I should be right at the end. I measure one end and it's 52 inches. Then I go to the middle of the quilt and measure, and it's 52 and a half. Then I go to the other end and measure, and it's 51 3/4. Now I have to remember those numbers and take the average. I can't even remember what the first number was, but you don't have to. You can put the tape measure away. No, first I'll show you how I set it up to make it nice and easy. I put one end of my quilt up here. Then I take the middle and I fold it over. And this is small enough that I can do it on my ironing board. When it's a big quilt, I often will do it on my bed. But I don't tell my husband because he'll get mad because I use pins and he doesn't want pins on our bed. Don't understand that. All they'll do is poke you. But anyhow, so I've got one end here, the middle of the quilt, and the other end just lined up right here. Not going to take my tape measure, but I am going to take my border that I have already prepared here, and it's doubled. And I'm going to put a pin here at this end, like so, just to hold it together. And I'm going to put it here and anchor it right on the bottom edge of my quilt. Then I'm going to lay it out, keeping it doubled and pretty close to the edge, like so, until I get to this end. And there's the end of it, and I'm going to mark it with this pin. Then I'm going to come back to this end, take that anchor pin out, put the quilt here, and now I'm going to just lay it out nicely across. And pin at this end where it is. Okay? Coming back, and I'm going to do the same thing at the top of the quilt. You notice I haven't even used my tape measure. And I'm just going to lay the border out next to it. And put in my final pin. So this, I can't remember, this obviously is the top one. And I think this was the bottom one and this is the middle one, but I could be totally wrong. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. I'm going to take the average of this, and the easiest way to do that is to fold it over. So the first pin and the last pin meet. Just put a little fold in there, and I'm going to move this pin here. Oops. In the middle there. And that is where I'm going to cut my borders. Okay, so I've got my average pin in, just in the middle there. I'm going to remove the other two because we don't need them anymore. And I'm simply going to, I could take this over to my cutting table, but I'm just going to do it here on the ironing board. And I'm just going to line up the ruler, remove my pin. Now let's get it out of the way. I don't want to hit the rotary cutter with my pin. And there we go. This I'll save for something else because I am a scrappy quilter. Now the next thing I do is I take out my anchor pins and my pins holding things down, and I fold my border in half. And you can use a marker if you want, you can iron it. I just press it in half and put a little pin so I know where the middle is. And for the other piece, now with this quilt, it's easy to see where the middle is, but sometimes it's easier just to take a ruler and just mark it that way. And I take my one border piece and I put the middle, and I'll pin the middle right into the middle. I'll pin this end here, and I like to just pin at the seams. I don't feel it needs to be pinned right at the end. Another pin at this end. And one in the middle here. Another in the middle here. So to review, instead of a tape measure, I used my border to mark the distances of each end plus the middle. I cut my border. I found out the middle of the quilt, the middle of the border, and I pinned that, and I put other pins in to hold it, and now I will do the same for the other end. Take it to the sewing machine, and my borders will be on, and they'll be nice and flat. And your long armor, if you use one, will love you for it. Okay, that's all. Have a good day.